Hello and welcome to the first episode of Asia Rugby Live with me, Rod, where we talk about rugby all day, every day to the people from all over the world, especially from Asia. It's the fourth day of Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you who is fasting and to those who are fasting out there, wishing you a blessed Ramadan that will inspire you with courage and strength that will help you to win every challenge of life, inshallah. And to those who are watching, please like and subscribe to YouTube channel and press the bell button to receive future notifications. And not forgetting the Facebook page as well. Please like and subscribe. And moving on, we have a very special guest today, which is, since it's the very first episode of Asia Rugby Live, we are talking to the newly elected, fresh from the oven Asia Rugby President, casting to you from Dubai of the UAE, Mr. Qais Al Dhalai. Mr. Qais, how are you doing today?
Hi, Rod. Hi. All good, all good. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, good for me. How is Ramadan so far for you?
Yeah, all good. Quite going well with the partially lockdown, but we will get past into a better days very soon, hopefully.
Yeah, and hopefully things will get better in the future, of course, since every country in the world is facing this pandemic COVID-19, and hopefully things will get better soon because I think all of us miss rugby as a whole because we are rugby people and we want to watch rugby games and we want to be in the moment watching rugby all the time. So of course, this is a problem everywhere. Moving forward, how do you reckon Asia Rugby can overcome this, together?
Yeah, we at Asia Rugby, like any other sport organization, we work closely with the International Federation, World Rugby, and with the other health authorities across Asia. We can't just commence playing rugby when all most of countries on lockdown. So basically and logically, we need to monitor the global health situation with World Rugby and the health authority, and let's wait for the good news. But that does not stop Asia Rugby from performing its duties, especially what we're gonna launch very soon, which is the training and education through online platforms. So we keep engaging with our fan base, like what we are doing now, live
Mhm.
cast, so people can interact with Asia Rugby, if yeah, on an executive level, executive committee level, or on a management level. So this is what we are trying to do to keep engaging with fans, with teams, with unions, and things are improving bit by bit. If you follow the global health situation, it's improving day by day. So let's wait for the good news, and like any other sport organization.
Yeah, hopefully, definitely things will get better, and hopefully things will get better very, very soon. Okay, I think we can, put COVID-19 to one side because that would be a very, very long topic to talk about. Guys, you've been active in rugby. You've been active in rugby, especially from the Arabian Gulf times, and then the UAE Rugby Federation or UAE Rugby Union was established. You were one of the people who this. So now you are the Asia Rugby president. Can you tell us the story how it started from Arabian Gulf to UAE Rugby, now to Asia Rugby president for you?
Okay, just to give a bit quick history, Dubai Rugby Sevens celebrated the 50th anniversary last edition. So in last December
Mm-hmm.
2019, we got the 50 years edition of Dubai Rugby Sevens, which means that rugby is a long day sport in the UAE. It exists for a long time, basically with
Mm-hmm.
the during the British days when they were in the UAE. I mean, on the 60s and 70s. Uh, Later on, rugby continuing to progress within the expatriate environment, not within the indigenous population. Early 2000, there was a full UAE team, UAE national team, starting to compete within the domestic league, and those were under the Arabian Gulf Rugby Union. There was not anything called United Arab Emirates Rugby or Oman Rugby or Bahrain Rugby or Qatar Rugby. It was only the Arabian Gulf. It's like organization that govern the sport in 6 Gulf countries. So in
Mm-hmm.
2009, during Bernard Lapasse, the ex-IRB World Rugby chairman, IRB decided
Yep.
to disband the AGRFU, the Arabian Gulf Rugby Union, and they decided that each country has to have their own national governing body. And this is when UAE Rugby started, 2009. Since then, I became the council member of UAE Rugby at Asia Rugby, attending all the meetings,
Mm-hmm.
start to learn a lot. Uh, this was in 2010 when we joined Asia Rugby. In 2012, we joined World Rugby. So it was a very exceptional case. The UAE was the first union in history to get the World Rugby membership within 1 year, because as you know, there is a criteria to move from Asia Rugby to World
Mm-hmm.
Rugby. You need When you are
Yep.
Asia Rugby associate member, you need to comply with certain criteria to be full member of Asia Rugby. Then to be associate member of World Rugby, you need to at least remain 2 years as full member of Asia Rugby. Then you can become an associate member of World Rugby. Then you can be a full member of World Rugby. So we took only one
Mm-hmm.
year from Asia Rugby full member to World Rugby associate member, which is a very exceptional case because UE Rugby at that time was doing a lot. So in
Right.
2013, I was elected as executive committee member of Asia Rugby. I served 2 years. In 2015, I was elected as Secretary General of Asia Rugby. I served for 2 years
Mm-hmm.
again. And in 2017, I stood for the presidential election. And I lost by a casting vote. And now again in 2019, only 4 months ago, I was elected as president of Asia Rugby. So, it's a bit of escalating process. It's not like a parachuting to become a leader of, it's like I've been through the ladder step
Yes.
by step, learning a lot, getting
Yep.
all the insider. It's not easy to run. I mean, if you come like parachuting, you don't know the chemistry of the organization. So it's good. It
Yeah.
was a good journey for me myself.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Growing from really really small to where you are now, I reckon you have the experience that you can compare to from the small union that you guys were to where you are now, and hopefully you can use the experience to govern Asia Rugby. And talking about that, what made you want to become the president of Asia Rugby? What's the motivation in that?
Yeah, it was a genuine and natural motivation. Logically, to me, each sport administrator should have an ambition and motivation to lead the organization. Some administrators do not want to have the responsibility, and it's not something that you want to do it if you are not a kind of person who would like to take challenges and responsibility. You better be like a normal council member, attending 1 or 2 meetings per year, and that's it, and just concentrate with your own union. But for me personally, because as I told you, I've been through my little union in early days and took over from the
Mm,
AGRFU. It was a big challenge because AGRFU was a well-established union. It was there for 20
right.
years. So for us as a UE Rugby to take over from a well-established union, it is something not easy to do. So all of
Yep.
those, I earned and gained a lot of experience. Then again, when I become
Mm-hmm.
ex member of Asia Rugby, then when I become a Secretary General of Asia Rugby, so all of those motivates me more and more to lead the region, because I can see a lot of potential that the region can offer, and it is offering, and it offered already, and it proven to
Right.
the whole world that Asia Rugby is one of the best as regional association across the 6 regional association. If you talk about player population, we are number one and get into rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Get into rugby is Division 2 world rugby. We are number one. We had the
Right.
most successful Rugby World Cup 2019. We had we are
Yes.
having every year 3 legs of the Sevens World Series: Dubai Sevens, Hong Kong
Mm-hmm.
Sevens, Singapore Sevens. So all in uh, all of this motivated me to stand for election 2 times. I mean, it was 2017, and then again, I had my second attempt. So it shows that I am a dedicated person. I want to give more to Asian. I want to give more to our beloved sport, to be number one sport. And those are all challenges. You need to work. You need to
Mm-hmm.
work in harmony with otherwise, and you're.
Right. And how is it? How has it been so far? For you as the Asia Rugby president, since you were elected, of course, there's so many countries that's involved with Asia Rugby, and you've been flying around here and there. So how has it been so far for you?
Yeah, as you said, Asia Rugby is so, I mean, as a continent, it is the biggest continent. As a population, it is the
Right.
biggest continent. We have from far east, Guam, on the Pacific Ocean,
Mm-hmm.
to the far west, Lebanon. We had north, Kazakhstan, to south, Indonesia. So this gives you the sort of challenge and the sort of responsibility that you as a president need to bear. Uh, of
Right.
course, when I was elected as a president, uh, first of all, every union expect from you within a very short period of time, and that's human being. They always look for the
Yeah.
good things. So I was receiving a lot of requests from unions. I mean, majority of unions. A union require more funding.
Mm-hmm.
Another union requires support and nutrition. Another union some sanctioning for tournaments, beach rugby, women's rugby, youth rugby. Those kind of requests and expectation from people elected you. At the end of the day, you need
Right.
to understand. You need to feel what the unions are feeling. Unions. President behind the closed doors will never work in Asia. You need to be near your people, understand your people, listen to them, listen more than you talk, and that's what I'm doing since
Mm-hmm.
I became president. I listen a lot. I try to observe and digest a lot. What are the real needs of Asia Rugby, and then I convey the needs to World Rugby, because they are the international federation, and
Right.
more they, I mean, World Rugby increased our funding from 2019 to 2020 by 30% to 40%. So that's a good sign that World Rugby even is supporting me and supporting Asians.
I guess it's step by step. You need definitely you need time to grow Asia Rugby as a whole, because, like you say, it is a whole huge continent and there's a lot of countries that is involved. In terms of challenges, of course, there's a whole long list of challenges. What do you think is the main challenge of growing in Asia? The main challenge.
I mean, since I became president, to myself there were 2 main challenges. First of all, competition and funding. Asia Rugby had
Mm-hmm.
no sponsors for the last 4 or 5 years, and that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And the only source of income was one of priority is to commercial investment,
Right. Commercial
to
investment. Okay.
attract uh, attract and
Guys, your line
my
is breaking
data
up.
family.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
I was saying that the main priority petitions and funding, and
Sorry, guys. Yeah, can you repeat that again? Yeah, about
uh,
funding. Yes.
get okay now.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. I think there's some problems with the internet. Yes, of
Okay.
course, if you talk about the challenges of growing the game in Asia, the main thing I would think at the back of my head would be funding. And definitely that's one of the main challenges for Asia Rugby, especially for Mr. Qais Al Dhalai to overcome. And so far, I think he's doing a good job by trying to grow the game. Of course, it will take time, but whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do, takes time. And talking about Asia Rugby also as a whole, there's X number of unions that is involved with Asia Rugby, and of course every union in Asia Rugby, apart from Japan and Hong Kong, every union is considered as their league is considered as amateur, and to get to the level unions of the ones in Europe, Oceania, like New Zealand or Australia or England, Wales, Ireland, it will definitely take time, and it will take a lot of planning, to get to where we are going. And of course, Rugby World Cup, the ones that happened in 2019, really helped um, the game to grow in Asia, especially because one of the world records that was I think recorded during the Rugby World Cup was that it was the highest view in ever. It was the highest views that was recorded ever in Asia. If I'm not mistaken, it was 56 or 66 million that viewed the Japan Scotland game. So saying that, I think there's a lot of room to grow the game in Asia. There's a lot of line to grow the game in Asia, especially if you talk about population, if you talk about the total of population in Asia. Okay, I think Kais is back. Okay, Kais, sorry, the line got cut off. Yeah, can you repeat about the main challenges of growing the game in Asia?
Yeah. As I was saying, I mean, the two main challenges are the financial resources of Asia Rugby and the
Mm-hmm.
competition, the tournament. I'm trying a well-established tournament calendar.
Right.
Like we always have is 15 aside, and the second half of the year is 7 aside.
Mm-hmm.
And the financials, it's really difficult, and we did not have any sponsorship for the last 4 years. So we are
Right.
trying to get new sponsorship and having more resources that will support the Asian Rugby Union, which ultimately will
Mm-hmm.
benefit all the member unions because each member unions need funding. They have their own funding from
Yes.
government. Some of them they have very little
Mm-hmm.
from Olympic Committee, especially when there is the Asian Games or the Youth Asian Games or the Olympics. But other than this, I mean, most of the unions are struggling. So my
Right.
priority is to get more sponsorship to assist member unions, and those are the two main challenges for Asia Rugby. I mean, other than this, then player base is huge. I mean, there is a big. I can't say anything about the development side. It's only tournament thing.
Mm-hmm. And I really hope you get to achieve that, because of course a lot of unions are struggling financially. And if we talk about the ARC, the Asia Rugby Championship, to prepare a team is definitely not cheap, and you need money for that. And of course, I think whatever the main concern that you have just now is legit, and I think it's a big concern to a lot of the unions. Okay, moving
Sure.
on to that, what are your main goals to achieve during your tenure as president? Can you share with us?
Okay, as I explained to you, when you are a president of a region, you need to establish
Mm-hmm.
your good foundation. What are the
Right.
foundation? A strategic plan, key
Mm-hmm.
performance and indicators, KPIs, and objectives.
Right.
And this is already approved by council in Bali in the last council meeting in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do is we have to stick to our strategic plan from 2020 to 2024. That's
Right.
our Bible. This is our Quran.
Right.
Whatever we do, it should be in full alignment with the strategic plan. We should not
Mm-hmm.
we should not have a diversion from the strategic plan. The second step,
Right.
what I did is to establish the committees. Asia Rugby has now
Mm-hmm.
9 committees. Each committee has a
Mm-hmm.
chairperson and 2 deputies, and it has a general membership. So to
Right.
establish all those KPIs in the strategic plan, our 9 committees, and each committee is doing their job. At the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, the committee uh, recommend to executive committee, and in some other cases they perform their duties, depends on the nature of task. So for example, if we want to amend some articles in the constitution, it is the role of the ethics and governance committee. If we want to appoint a new
Right.
auditor, or we have some comments on the auditors, it is the audit and risk committee. If we want to have more sponsorship, it is the admin and finance committee. Then women's gender inclusion and equality is one of our principles. We have a players welfare, and now we reformed the committee to be called Women's Advisory Committee in alignment with World
Mm-hmm.
Rugby. So the committees are doing their job, and then executive committees. We have a newly appointed chief executive officer. Just 1 month. He was the president of Cyprus Rugby Union, a well
Right.
known guy in Europe. So we have a new blood into the organization, and we try to inject a new blood to have more fruitful outcome, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the logical way to go forward, to have a new blood.
You sound very very corporate there, and I'm very happy to you how you explain what's your plans are, what you did is very it sounded like a company, corporate company. So I think that's the way
Yeah,
moving forward, definitely,
one of the
and
things,
hopefully your plans will succeed.
one of the things I think was lacking, and to be honest, is treating the organization as a corporate.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When you want to lead in any business, whether it is a sport, whether it is charity, if it is economic, if it's politics, you need to treat the organization as a corporate, as a company, a real company,
Right.
which has a P&L,
Mm-hmm.
profit and loss, balance sheet. You can't just deal with the organization like Asia Rugby as a purely sport organization. If you run the organization as a sport organization, you reach
Mm-hmm.
nowhere, because you will miss the
Right.
financial side. Surrounding, you know, media, basically any company, and ask them for sponsorship. What is the
Right.
dialogue between you and the company? Please give me X money, and I will put A boards on the stadium. This has
Right.
vanished. Who is looking for this? I
Yes.
mean, nobody will give you funding if you tell them, I will put your signage on the website or on the stadium. And this does not work nowadays. So this
Yes,
kind of
yes,
thinking, that's why how you need to deal with your organization as a purely commercial corporate.
yes. In this, I reckon more of a part rather than just a pure sponsorship of giving X amount of money and you get an A bot. That's it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, moving on from sponsorship and money, recently you've had an election from all the members of the Asia Rugby Union um, to elect Agustin Pichot. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, Rod. As you know, World Rugby has an election every 4 years, and in May the 12th, they will announce the
Yep.
new chairman. You know, the closing of the nomination submission was in mid-April, and as you know, as everybody, there is a contest between the incumbent chairman Bill Beaumont against the
Mm-hmm.
the incumbent vice chairman Augustin Pichot to be the new chairman for the 2020-2024 period. And there was an uncontested vice chairman who is the president of French Rugby, and there are eight
Right.
candidates for the executive committee. Only 7 seats, but eight candidates. What happened
Right.
during the last few days, the big story about the Fiji Rugby current chairman, Francis Keane.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of news. I don't want to go into that route, but anyway, he withdrawn his candidacy, which left 7 seats. So there is no election for
Right.
Exco. There is no election for vice chairman because only one, Bernard Laporte, and there is only one election for the chairman post. So what we did in Asia, I always, when I became president, I came with three principles: equality,
Mm-hmm.
transparency, and accountability. And when you talk
Right.
about transparency, you have to get the vote and the right to vote.
Yeah, basically there's a voting process. I think Kais was telling everyone about the voting process that has taken place, whereby saying that because Asia Rugby has two votes to the World Rugby, um, so Mr. Qais Al Dhalai gave the opportunity to every member nation of Asia Rugby to vote their preferred World Rugby chairman. Moving forward, what's their vision and mission and stuff like that. So there's two World Rugby chairman nomination, which is Bill Beaumont and Agustin Pichot. So Bill Beaumont is from England. Agustin Pichot used to be the scrum half for Argentina Rugby. He last played in 2007. He has come strides to strides. He has done really well for himself. Both men are very how to say, they are very known in their own way. And but I guess Asia Rugby has spoken, and majority of the votes have picked Agustin Bisho to be voted from Asia. So that means all the two votes, if I'm not mistaken, if this is right, so the two votes from Asia will go to Agustin Picho, because probably a lot of the members union uh, agree with his vision and mission, because yeah, he has a different vision and mission in terms of competition, in terms of growing the game, than Bill Beaumont. And to those out there, you can ask questions, you can shoot any questions that you want on our Facebook Live, Asia Rugby Live Facebook. Comments down below. We'll select your questions, and we'll get Kais to answer your
Yeah.
questions, and hopefully, get your questions answered. Hey, Kais, you back? Yes, yeah. So sorry, the line got cut off again. Yeah, can you tell us again about the process of getting Pisho to vote for him?
And is
Kais, are
purely
you
for
there?
the chairman.
Yeah, I think.
Yep. for the
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're there. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us again about the
It's
you
for
know, the whole process of picking Agustin Pichot?
yeah. Each union casted their vote in Asia,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, there was a period where each voting of Asia Rugby, we have 28 voting members of Asia Rugby, and we have 3 non-voting members. The voting members uh, voted for their preferred candidate, and on the closing
Mm-hmm.
date, which is 25th of April, as you know, the result was 24 shot, and 2 voted for Bill, and 2 abstention. So they
Right.
cannot change. They want to embrace and to get more. So that's the liberty, and that's freedom, and that's democracy, and that's the utmost transparency that any regional association has adapted, which is Asia. We went public, and we will never have whatever my voting. We announced and we did what happened 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time Asia Rugby is doing this, as in an open vote. To the members' union to to pick whoever that they choose to vote. Oh, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy is back on again.
Yes.
So, guys, are you there? Okay,
Hi.
I think there's some problem with the line. Of course, during this MCO, during the movement control order in Malaysia, it's called movement control order. Everywhere else, it's called lockdown. In Singapore, it's called circuit breaker. So of course, a lot of people are staying at home, and uh, people are using a lot of the internet. So people are clogging the internet lines, and that's why the internet lines everywhere in the world uh, slowing down, I guess, slowing down or has slowed down. So please bear with us. We're trying to dig in some answers from the president himself. He is a very very transparent man. He's trying to explain on the things, on the process, on how Asia we are doing things now. So hopefully you guys can get your answers. Okay, Mr. Kais, yeah, again. So yeah, talking about the process of picking and ghosting Pichot. So I guess this is the first time Asia Rugby is doing this process. An open system where members of the Asia Rugby unions get to pick uh, the candidate that they want.
No,
Is it?
we were always doing the same thing. It's not something new, but the
All
new
right,
thing is that we announce publicly. You had that
right,
and you keep it as a secret, but I said no. Once the voting members decide their preferred candidate, Asia vote should be published everywhere. People need to know who's Asia is voting for, and that's my one of my principles:
right.
transparency.
Right, cool. Okay, moving on from governance, moving on from World Rugby. Let's talk about rugby league in Asia. So, like Japan has a successful rugby top league. Hong Kong, they have a semi-pro league. Those are the two nations which has a successful league, I would say. Does Asia Rugby has a plan to help a member of its union, set up a professional league in the future? What do you reckon? Okay, I think the line got cut off again. Again,
Oh,
sorry again, guys. It's internet is a bit of a problem all over the world because,
hi.
like I said, it's been clogged by a lot of people who are staying at home. during this lockdown, during this movement control order or circuit breaker or whatever that your country calls it. So yeah, internet lines are slowing down. The focus we are talking about is, setting another professional league in a Asia Rugby member country. So, one of the countries that has been talking about setting up a professional league is Malaysia, whereby um, in Malaysia, Malaysia Rugby has spoken about setting up a professional league, hiring players, full-time players to play rugby 24/7. And of course, that is not only to grow the game in Malaysia, but I think growing the game in this region as, if, a country like Malaysia would grow or, improve
Yeah,
their game, then the countries around Malaysia would definitely improve as well. So yeah, okay, guys. Yeah, I was talking about the setting up a professional league
yeah,
in
yeah.
an Asian country. So does Asia Rugby has plans to help another member of its Asia Union set up a professional league in the future? What do you think?
It's so difficult at the moment. We have our priorities, we have our strategic plan. We will concentrate
Uh-huh.
further on assisting unions themselves to have their national side, their development side, referees, judicial officers, all aspect of the game. And then on a later stage, we can think who is ready to adapt a semi-professional league. I mean, the most nearly ready union are Malaysia and Sri Lanka,
Mm-hmm.
and that's to
Right.
my own humble opinion. But they are
Right.
still struggling. It needs a lot of financial resources, and this is not the right time. Let us concentrate more on the actual core business, which is national side and development and referees. And then a later stage, we look at the semi-professional leagues across some member unions.
Right. So, of course, it's a bit difficult. It takes some time for that to happen. How about, an idea of another Rugby World Cup in Asia? What do you think about that?
Why not? Why not? If Japan did it, uh, Korea can do it. United
Mm-hmm.
Arab Emirates can do it. Those countries, they have the China can do it. Singapore can do it. Those countries are well established in terms of stadium capacity, hotels, transportation. Their political environment are stable. So, you know, those kind of things, if a union want to think about hosting a World Cup, because 2023 will be in France, 2027 not yet decided. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see. There is a
How
potential
about,
for, I mean, above.
yeah, I would say, how about what do you think of a Rugby World Cup in Asia? So that means probably one game in Kuala Lumpur, another game in Singapore, another game in Hong Kong, then probably another game in Beijing, another game in Dubai. So do you think that would be possible?
I don't think that will be possible for many reasons. Basically, from a player welfare perspective, player has
Right.
have to rest between matches, and then the traveling distance between a country or another. Those are all factors that the Rugby World Cup board will always bear in mind when they have the selection for the successful candidate. I think if they are two countries near each other borders, yes, but if it is more than a country, it is a bit difficult, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Definitely, that's a really good point. Of course, you know, player welfare is one of the most important things that we need to take care and, of course, take note. And there's a few questions from Facebook. Let's look at the first question from Facebook. Is there any chance for more teams from Asia to join the Rugby World Cup? I think,
Yeah, that
yeah,
that
I think
was a
you've been
big
talking
that,
about
that
this,
was
right?
a big that was a big debate. I mean, I have advised my Asia Rugby 2 council members to World Rugby. Terence Koo and Ada Milby to try and negotiate what are the real problems behind Asia not having a second position. At the moment we
Mm-hmm.
have Japan, who's already qualified 2023, and
Yeah.
the second slot will be through the winner of Asia Rugby Championship next year will play
Mm-hmm.
the up of Oceania 2. So
Right.
this is what we are at. Maybe in the future we'll have two direct slots. At the moment, direct was Japan already qualified, and the second one will be against Oceania 2. This is what was. So we had the luck of negotiation, but
Yeah, I guess that's a rapid charge. Okay. How about let's look at the second question from Facebook. Okay. Do you think Malaysia Rugby Union is doing a great job in promoting the sport for for the country and the world?
definitely yes, yes. Malaysia is doing a good job, man. They have women's team, they have men's team. They are competitive on the 7 series. On the 15s, the men's plays at the top three. So the board is chaired by my colleague Sharul Yahya and the vice president
Mm-hmm.
Velat and Rule, the secretary general. So I have very close with them, and they are really and doing what they can. Obviously, every union had their own restriction, but from my perspective, from my experience with those people, they are doing a great job, and Malaysia is really on the right track. What do you expect more than playing in the top three? Having a women's team, men's team, and the Asian Games. So it's all, Sea Games. So it's all going good with Malaysia.
Interesting that you mentioned about women's rugby. In Asia, women's rugby is definitely growing. Is that one of the focus of Asia Rugby to grow women's rugby in Asia as a whole?
No, no doubt, no doubt. One of our main priorities is growing the game amongst women, whether she is a Muslim woman or Christian woman or Jewish woman or Buddha woman or call it no race, no blood. We just to spread the sport amongst women's equally to men's, and that's why we have a
Mhm.
dedicated committee called Women's Advisory Committee, chaired by my colleague Ada Melby from Philippines, and the committee has around 30 members from Asia, from Jordan, from Laos, from Japan, from Hong Kong, from Sri Lanka, from India. You call it.
Right.
So this is one of our biggest committees, and they are doing a good job, and definitely it's one of my priority.
Right, hey, that's great. Of course, women's rugby is one of the fastest growing sport in the world. And if talk about women's rugby, I think we cannot not talk about grassroots level. So in Asia, you mentioned just now that get into rugby engagement. Asia is the highest in the world. So what are your plans to make sure that get into rugby engagement will maintain as still the highest in the world?
Uh, actually, we have passed this step. Our main step was in
Mm,
2016 to establish a product called Asia 1 million. Asia 1 million was basically a target of achieving 1 million new participants by the time of Rugby World Cup, which we already achieved, and we exceeded the 1 million cap. Now our priority is retention of 20% of the achieved number. So our focus now is not on growing the number of participants, is to retain 20% of the achieved population, and this is how you take rugby to the second level. If you keep spreading the sport without having a retention program, then you end up people going after secondary school, others, they go to cinema, they go play any other, there are a lot of entertainments in life. So our
Yep.
focus is
Yep.
to have a 20% retention on the achieved number. And this is managed by the development committee, chaired by Villa Tan, and the development manager of Asia Rugby, Ben Royan, from South Africa.
Oh, that's great, man. If you talk about player retention, 20%, I think that's a huge number, and that's a great win for Asia. Mr. Qais Al Dhalai, thank you very much for spending your time with us. It was great having all this transparency, all these insights, all this planning that you have shared with us into Asia Rugby, and we hope that there will be a lot of challenges for you. Leading the union, leading Asia Rugby, and I really hope. I wish you all the best success in the world for the future.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you soon. Stay strong, stay home, and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. And guys, thank you very much for joining us. I'm really sorry about the internet problem we had earlier. Like I said, everyone in the world are staying at home and clogging the internet lines, and of course that is slowing the internet lines down. But whatever it is, we are still trying to connect to you guys. Please bear with us, uh, and don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube page and also our Facebook page, and click on the bell button so that you receive all the notifications in the future. Don't forget to be with us same time, same day next week, as we'll be bringing you another set of guests, and we'll be talking about rugby all day, every day with me, Rod, only on Asia Rugby Live.